Hello, this is a tutorial for how to create our program on Google Sheets for our texting and driving project. The first thing that you'll need to do when you make a new sheet is title it correctly so that we can find the sheet that you've made when you share this program with us. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is put what period you're in. So capital P, and let's pretend you're in period 7. So I'd put a 7. And then what assignment this is, we're going to call it texting and driving, but abbreviate it capital T, and then ampersand, that's shift 7, and then capital D, texting and driving, and then a space, and then I want you to put your last name. Whatever it is, put your last name, and that will be the full title for your program. Okay, so an important thing when making your program is to not only make sure you have the correct equations entered into your program so that the calculations are correct, but also include word descriptions for the people that will be using your program. It needs to be user-friendly. Okay, so let's, on cell A, let's put description. Click into cell A, and we'll write description. Okay, and then we know from our system analysis we've got 3 pieces for this problem, and the first piece was how we were moving while distracted. Okay, and you notice that I spilled over onto the next cell, so I can actually go up here to the border in between cells A and B, and if I double click while it's highlighted blue like that, did you see how it increases the width of the cell to the appropriate width? I'm actually going to make it quite a bit wider so I can click and drag because I know I'm going to need a lot of room. Okay. The moving while distracted, that's going to be really important, so I'm going to bold it. And then the information that we have regarding moving while distracted, we've got information about the time while distracted, and I'll put equals because we'll put a value next to that. Okay, and then we also know the speed of the car, and we'll put an equals there. And then the thing that we want to calculate from those 2 values is the distance the car moves while distracted. And equals. Okay, now I'm going to put values in cell B. And so in terms of formatting, if I highlight those 3 descriptors and I go up and see where this says horizontal align, I click on that and I want to align right, then they all pop over to the side. And then I can enter in the cells right next to it. I can enter the time while distracted, and for me and the class that I was working with, the time that we were distracted for was 4.37 seconds. Okay, and you'll put in your agreed upon distraction time. Our initial speed of the car was 10 meters per second. Okay, and all of those things require units. We only want numbers in the cells that we put in that we're going to use for calculations, and so we put our units in cell C. So 4.37, and I'll put an S for seconds, and then speed of car is 10, and meters divided by seconds. Okay, and then it's important that our user knows that we're actually expected to put information into these 2 cells. Okay, so I'm going to make these 2 cells a color, and I really like purple, so we'll put purple. Okay, and then I'm actually going to, up above here next to the description, I'll make a box that says input, okay, and I'm going to actually also color that purple, okay, so that a user knows anything that's purple, they're expected to put in their own numbers. Okay, now the distance the car moves while distracted, that's going to be super important. So I'm going to put the answer to that in its own column. I'm going to put it over here in column D. And so I'm going to call that a distance. Okay, and I'm going to color that, let's see, let's make it green. Okay, and so the distance the car moves while distracted, I'll make that cell green. Was it that the same color green? Okay, good. And I'm going to actually need to calculate that. So here's how you calculate something. So in a cell that you want to perform a calculation on, you need to put equals first. That's Sheet's indicator that here comes something that I would like you to calculate. So from our system analysis, we know the distance traveled while distracted is equal to the speed of the car times the time distracted. Okay, so you actually can just click on those cells. So distance equals the speed. So I'll click on the cell that holds the speed value. You see that it floating above it is a 10, so we know that's correct, and it's in cell B5. Okay, and then multiply, you hit Shift 8. It's the asterisk is the multiply symbol. So our 10 meters per second times the time distracted, I click on the time distracted is 4.37. I don't need to enter that value. I can just click on the cell. And that's important because if the time distracted ever changes, then the program will respond. And above your equation, you can see that the answer is what we got in our system analysis summary page. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. We've got our answer in green. Next to it, we'll put our units. Our distance units are meters. Great. So I'm going to actually pause this and let you do the next piece for the car moving while reacting. All right, we're back. So check your answers, compare them with mine. Your answers should match your answers on your system analysis summary page. So what you get should not be a surprise. Okay. Now the most complex piece of this problem is to look at the motion of the car while braking. And so let's talk about all the things that we need to possibly input while the car is braking. One thing I want to address before I move on to that is we'll notice that in both moving while reacting and moving while distracted, the speed of the car is the same. I've got both of them bolded as purple, meaning that the user would have to put in 10 in both of these things. We can actually just have the user put in the speed of the car once, and so they don't have to repeat it multiple times. That's one of the benefits of a program, is it does a lot of the work for you once the starting up work is done. So I'm actually going to take the speed of the car and the moving while reacting, and I'm going to erase that, and I'm actually going to tell that cell, I'm going to put in an equal sign, and I'm just going to say put there in this cell whatever is in this speed of the car cell while distracted. So I'll click on B5 and it should be 10 and enter. So then if I change that value, the speed of the car while reacting will change also. So I'm actually going to take that cell and I'm going to take the color off so it's no longer an input, so the user knows that they don't have to enter anything again there. All right, so let's back up and look at moving while braking again. So the things that we need to know, we've got the starting speed of the car, okay, the acceleration of the car while braking, okay, we We need to know how long it takes to brake. Okay, I'm going to add in the final speed of the car. And then finally the distance the car travels while braking. Okay, and then in one swoop I'm going to highlight all of these and I'm going to align them to the right. Okay, so the starting speed of the car is the same as the speed of the car in both of the previous, so I'm going to put equals, and then I'm going to align that to our speed of the car that it's always been, 10 meters per second. That'll be the starting or the initial speed of our car. The braking acceleration of the car is going to be, it's slowing down, so it's negative, it's taking away from our velocity, so -8. Okay. Remember, we want to put units over here, so -8 meters per second So that's how much the speed changes every second. The speed of the car initially was in meters per second. Okay. Oh, and it wanted to auto-populate my units. I don't want that extra per second, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. The time to brake is calculated, but its units will be in seconds. The final speed of the car is in meters per second, and we actually know what that is, right? The car eventually will come to a rest and a speed of 0, and then the distance the car travels while braking, that will also be calculated. That will actually be a distance, so it'll be over here green in our distance column. So I'll go over here and I'll fill that in as green. It'll be in units of meters. And actually, the time to brake, that's calculated. It's not a distance, we're not putting it in. So I'm actually going to take this cell that has the units in it, and I'm going to color that, let's call it yellow. Okay, didn't turn yellow. Oh, I changed the text color. I want the text color to remain black, and I want the fill color to be yellow. Okay, and then up here I'll make a key again, make that yellow also, and I'll say that that's a calculation. Okay, so first we need to calculate the time that it takes to brake. You should see that calculation on your system analysis page. When we did the algebra, we took the final velocity, okay, the final speed of the car. Okay, so we need to subtract, we need to equals the final speed of the car minus the initial speed of the car. Okay, and I'm going to put those things in parentheses. Okay, and then I will divide by the acceleration, which is -8. Okay, and that's what we got, 1.25 seconds as the time. Okay, I'm going to highlight these inputs as purple. Okay, that one's purple, and this one is purple also. Okay, and then finally the distance the car travels while braking is D equals half of the acceleration, so 0.5 times the acceleration, times time squared. So you could do time and then a little caret and a 2 for squared. Okay, now I'm going to put this whole business in parentheses because that's one full term of our equation. Okay, and then I want to add